For years, we've been told that feeling a little weaker after 60 is just the inevitable price of a long life. You might shrug your shoulders when the stairs feel steeper, or your grocery bags feel heavier, thinking it's just the natural clock ticking down. But as a physician who sees the consequences of this every day, I'm here to tell you that's a dangerous half-truth. Think of your muscles like the engine of a classic car. If you ignore the maintenance, the engine doesn't just age, it eventually seizes up. This silent thief, known as sarcopenia, doesn't announce itself with sudden pain. It slowly erodes your foundation until you're forced to rely on others for the simplest tasks. The real cost isn't just a medical diagnosis, it's the loss of your independence and the ability to live on your own terms. However, there is a powerful protective shield found in common fruits that can act as an emergency brake. You still have control over your future. If you value your freedom, comment "I'm ready" below. To truly understand the journey we are about to embark on, we must first look at the invisible enemy that has been quietly operating behind the scenes for many of you. In my years of clinical practice, I have found that patients are often blindsided by certain health conditions because they lack a name for what they are feeling. They simply call it getting older. But in medicine, we call this the silent thief, sarcopenia. Let's start by breaking down this intimidating term. The word sarcopenia comes from two Greek roots, sarx, meaning flesh, and penia, meaning loss or deficiency. Quite literally, it describes the process where your body's flesh, your skeletal muscle, is wasting away. But sarcopenia is not just a clinical definition. It is a profound shift in how your body functions. Unlike a sudden heart attack or a diagnosed infection, sarcopenia is a slow burn. It is a process that simmers on a low flame for years, decade after decade, until one day you realize the fire has consumed the very structure of your physical independence. In my clinic, I see this slow burn manifest in stories that might sound familiar to you. I think of a patient of mine, let's call him John, a retired engineer who spent his life being capable and handy. John came to see me not because he was sick in the traditional sense, but because he was frustrated. He noticed that a cast-iron skillet he had used for 30 years to make Sunday breakfast was suddenly becoming impossible to lift with one hand. He told me, "Dr. Eric, I feel like my body is betraying me, but I haven't changed a thing." Or consider Mary, a grandmother who used to spend hours in her garden. She started noticing that she felt winded just climbing the few stairs to her porch. She blamed her lungs or her heart, but when we did her assessment, her heart was fine. The issue was that her legs, her foundation, were no longer strong enough to carry her weight efficiently. This is how the silent thief operates. It begins with small, almost imperceptible signs. It's the slight groan when you get out of a low chair. It's the need to use the armrests to push yourself up. It is the way you start looking for an elevator because you no longer trust your knees on the stairs. Your body is incredibly good at adapting. It makes excuses for you. You tell yourself, "The air is heavy today," or "I just didn't sleep well." But underneath those excuses, the muscle fibers that give you power are shrinking. The real danger of sarcopenia is the downward spiral that follows this loss of strength. As a surgeon, I have seen the end stage of this spiral far too often, and it is a path I want to help you avoid at all costs. It starts with the loss of muscle, which leads directly to a loss of balance and coordination. You see, your muscles aren't just for lifting. They are the sensors that tell your brain where you are in space. When those muscles weaken, your internal GPS becomes fuzzy. This leads to the most feared event for any American over 60, the fall. In the medical world, we know that a single fall can be a sentinel event, the moment everything changes. A fall leads to a fracture, most commonly the hip or the wrist. For a younger person, a fracture is an inconvenience. For a senior dealing with sarcopenia, a hip fracture often means a long, painful hospital stay, followed by weeks or months in a rehabilitation center. During that time of immobility, muscle loss accelerates even faster. This is the moment when many people lose their autonomy. They go from living in their own homes, driving their own cars, and making their own decisions, to needing assisted living or home care nurses. Sarcopenia steals your right to be self-reliant. It turns you into a passenger in your own life. But here is the message of hope that I want you to carry with you today. This is not a one-way street. Modern medicine and nutritional science have proven that our muscles are remarkably plastic. They have a lifelong ability to adapt and grow if given the right signals. Research published in journals like the Journal of the American Medical Association shows that even individuals in their 80s and 90s can rebuild significant muscle mass through strategic intervention. We are not talking about turning back the clock to when you were 20. We are talking about applying an emergency brake to the decline and reclaiming the strength that allows you to live with dignity. The solution isn't found in a prescription bottle or an expensive surgery. It begins with the fuel you provide your body. This brings us to our first line of defense, a food I consider the construction foreman of your muscle tissue, the avocado. I call it the foreman because an avocado doesn't just provide raw materials, it coordinates the entire building process. Many of my patients are surprised when I tell them to reach for an avocado instead of a banana when they think about muscle health. While the banana is famous for its potassium, the humble avocado is actually the potassium superiority champion. It contains significantly more potassium per gram than a banana, and for someone over 60, potassium is your most vital electrician. Every time you want to move your arm or take a step, your brain sends an electrical signal. Potassium is the mineral that allows electricity to flow into the muscle fiber to cause a contraction. When your potassium levels are low, your muscles become misfired. This is why many of you suffer from those agonizing, paralyzing leg cramps in the middle of the night. It's not just a nuisance. It's a sign that your muscles are starving for the electrolytes they need to function. By incorporating avocado into your diet, you are ensuring that your electrical grid is stable, preventing cramps and allowing for stronger, more reliable movements throughout the day. But the avocado doesn't work alone. It brings along its perfect dance partner, magnesium. If potassium is the master of contraction, magnesium is the master of relaxation. A healthy muscle must be able to do both. Without enough magnesium, your muscles stay in a state of semi-tension, which leads to chronic fatigue and stiffness. Think of it like a car engine where the pistons are slightly stuck. You're burning more fuel and creating more wear and tear just to move a few inches. Magnesium enters the muscle fibers and allows them to reset, to breathe, and to recover. This synergy between potassium and magnesium in the avocado creates a fluidity of movement that many seniors haven't felt in years. Next, we must talk about the cellular cleaning crew found in the avocado, vitamin E. As we age, our bodies produce more free radicals, unstable molecules that act like rust on our cellular machinery. Exercise, even light walking, creates oxidative stress. For a younger body, this stress is easily managed. But after 60, that rust can accumulate, damaging the very muscle fibers you're trying to preserve. Vitamin E is a potent antioxidant that sweeps through your system, neutralizing these free radicals before they can cause permanent damage. It speeds up your recovery time. If you've ever felt sore for days after a simple walk or a day of gardening, it's likely because your cleaning crew is understaffed. The vitamin E in avocado helps your muscles bounce back faster so you can stay active day after day. However, the true secret weapon of the avocado, the part that many doctors don't have time to explain, is the IGF-1 connection. IGF-1 stands for insulin-like growth factor 1. Think of it as the general in your body's hormonal army. The general is the one who gives the direct order to the cells: build more muscle, repair that tissue, strengthen that bone. As we age, our natural levels of IGF-1 begin to dip, which is a primary driver of sarcopenia. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Dr. Eric, I'm busy. I don't want a complicated diet. That's why I want to give you what I call the savory start. This is a practical 5-minute ritual that I personally recommend to my patients who are serious about fighting muscle loss.
Forget the sugary cereals or the plain white toast that spikes your blood sugar and leaves you feeling tired by 10 a.m. Instead, take half a ripe avocado and mash it with a fork. Spread it over a slice of high-quality, whole-grain sprouted bread. The sprouts provide enzymes that make it easier for your 60-plus digestive system to absorb nutrients. On top of that, place a poached or soft-boiled egg. The egg provides the leucine, an amino acid that is the on switch for muscle protein synthesis, while the avocado provides the fuel and the signal we've been talking about.
Add a squeeze of lemon and a dash of black pepper. In this one simple meal, you have achieved the holy trinity of muscle health: high-quality protein, healthy fats to trigger growth hormones, and the electrolytes needed for perfect movement. When you start your day this way, you aren't just having breakfast. You are depositing into your independence fund. You are telling the silent thief that your muscles are not for the taking. You are choosing to remain the master of your own body, one bite at a time. And this is only the beginning. As we continue, I'm going to show you how to layer the next 3 fruits on top of this foundation to create a defensive shield that sarcopenia cannot penetrate. But for now, I want you to realize that the power to change your trajectory is sitting right there in your kitchen. You don't need a miracle. You just need a better strategy. Now that we have established the foundation with the avocado, it is time to talk about what I call the growth messenger of our strategy, the red apple. For generations, we have heard the old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But in the context of sarcopenia, most people have been eating their apples the wrong way. Or worse, they've been throwing away the very part that holds the secret code for muscle preservation. In my years of research and clinical observation, I have found that the humble red apple is often overlooked because it is so common. We tend to think that for something to be powerful, it must be exotic or expensive. But the science tells a very different story. The secret lies almost entirely in the skin. Within that vibrant red peel is a chemical compound called ursolic acid. This isn't just another nutrient, it is a molecular signal. I want to bring your attention to a groundbreaking study published in the prestigious journal Cell Metabolism. Researchers found that ursolic acid acts as a profound regulator of muscle mass. When we hit 60, our bodies begin to turn on certain genetic pathways that essentially melt our muscle away. 2 specific genes, known as MURF1 and atrogin-1, act like a demolition crew, breaking down muscle proteins faster than your body can replace them. This is where the red apple sends its double telegram message. The first part of the message is a cease order. Ursolic acid specifically targets those demolition genes, the ones responsible for muscle atrophy. It tells your body, stop the destruction. We cannot afford to lose any more of this precious lean tissue. For a patient like James, a 68-year-old retired architect I treated, this was a revelation. James was losing his grip strength. He found it harder to hold his drafting tools and even to open jars in the kitchen. He was doing everything right regarding exercise, but his body was stuck in a state of breakdown. By ensuring he consumed the peel of the red apple daily, we were able to provide his cells with the chemical signal needed to turn off that demolition crew. But the apple doesn't stop at defense. The second part of the telegram is an order to grow. Ursolic acid has the unique ability to enhance the activity of 2 of the most important hormones in your body, insulin and IGF-1, the same factor we discussed with the avocado. Now, I want to be clear. We aren't talking about spiking your insulin as a candy bar does. We are talking about making your muscle cells more sensitive to insulin. When your muscles are sensitive, they can pull in more glucose and amino acids from your bloodstream to fuel repair and growth. This process is called hypertrophy. The apple skin essentially acts as a growth messenger, telling your fibers to become larger and stronger. It turns the maintenance mode of your body back into build mode. Beyond the skin, the flesh of the apple provides a secondary but equally vital benefit: inflammation control through pectin. Pectin is a unique type of soluble fiber that acts as a biological sponge. For many Americans over 60, one of the biggest threats to muscle health is a phenomenon we call the glucose roller coaster. Every time you eat a high-carb snack or a processed meal, your blood sugar spikes. These spikes create advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which are essentially caramelized proteins that gum up your cellular machinery and trigger systemic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is like acid rain for your muscles. It slowly degrades the quality of your tissue. The pectin in the red apple slows down the absorption of sugars, keeping your blood glucose levels stable and preventing that acid rain from damaging your muscles. By regulating your internal environment, the apple ensures that the work you do, whether it's walking the dog or doing light weights, actually results in stronger muscles rather than just more inflammation. To make this practical, I recommend what I call the deconstructed pie. Many of my patients, like Sarah, a 72-year-old who loved traditional American desserts, found it hard to give up her sweets. I told her, "Sarah, let's keep the flavor, but change the outcome." Instead of a sugary pie crust, I had her grate a whole red apple, skin and all, using the large holes of a box grater. This increases the surface area, making it easier for your digestive system to access the ursolic acid. Sprinkle a generous amount of Ceylon cinnamon on top. Cinnamon is more than just a spice. It further improves insulin sensitivity, working in perfect harmony with the apple. This snack isn't a cheat meal. It is a clinical intervention that tastes like a treat. When you eat this, you are literally messaging your muscles to stay young. Now, if the apple is our growth messenger, our third pillar represents the defense battalion, the berries. I'm talking about blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries. In the world of nutrition, we often use the word antioxidant so much that it has lost its meaning. But for someone over 60, antioxidants are a matter of survival for their muscle tissue. The specific compounds in berries are called anthocyanins. These are the pigments that give berries their deep blue, purple, and red hues. Think of anthocyanins as elite paratroopers. When you go about your day, getting up from your chair, walking to the mailbox, or even just breathing, your metabolism produces radical oxygen species. These are unstable molecules that act like shrapnel, tearing holes in the membranes of your muscle cells. This is called oxidative stress. In a younger person, the body's repair systems are fast enough to patch these holes. But as we age, the shrapnel starts to win. This leads to muscle fatigue, slow recovery, and eventually the death of muscle cells. Berries drop these anthocyanin paratroopers directly into the battlefield of your muscles, neutralizing the shrapnel before it can do damage. But the most exciting benefit of berries, something that is critical for your independence, is their impact on neuromuscular communication. Your muscles are only as good as the wires that control them. Think about a lamp in your living room. You can have the most expensive bulb in the world, but if the cord is frayed, the light will flicker and eventually go out. In your body, the cord is your nervous system. Every movement starts with a signal traveling from your brain through your spinal cord, across a gap called the neuromuscular junction, and into the muscle. Research suggests that anthocyanins actually help insulate these wires and clear the static at the junction. Why does this matter? Because balance and reflexes are not just about strength, they are about speed. If you trip on a rug in your hallway, your brain has a fraction of a second to tell your leg muscles to fire and catch your weight. In sarcopenia, that signal is often delayed or weak. You don't fall because you aren't strong enough. You fall because the signal arrived too late. By consuming berries daily, you are protecting the wiring of your body, ensuring that your brain and your muscles remain on speaking terms. This is the ultimate insurance policy against the falls that so often lead to the loss of independence. I saw this clearly with a patient named Robert, a 75-year-old former high school coach. Robert noticed he was becoming clumsy. He was tripping over his own feet and felt disconnected from his movements. We added a daily defense battalion protocol to his routine. After just 6 weeks, he reported feeling sharper in his movements, He said it felt like the fog had lifted from his legs. That wasn't magic. It was the anthocyanins repairing his neuromuscular junctions and reducing the inflammation that was slowing down his reflexes. Berries also act as an inflammation shield. We've talked about inflammaging, that low-grade fire that burns through muscle mass as we age. Berries contain specific phytonutrients that inhibit the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 and TNF-alpha. By lowering these markers, you create a cool environment in your body. In a cool environment, muscles can repair. In a hot, inflamed environment, muscles can only survive. If you want to actually gain strength after 60, you must lower the temperature of your systemic inflammation. For a practical way to use this, I recommend the frozen candy method. Many of my patients find it hard to keep fresh berries in the house without them spoiling. I tell them to buy high-quality frozen organic blueberries.
Frozen berries are often picked at the peak of ripeness and flash frozen, locking in the anthocyanins. In the afternoon, when you feel that dip in energy, what many call the 3 p.m. slump, take half a cup of frozen berries and sprinkle a pinch of grated nutmeg over them. Nutmeg contains a compound called myristicin, which has been shown in some studies to have mild neuroprotective effects, further supporting the wiring we discussed. The cold temperature of the berries provides a sensory wake-up call to your system, while the antioxidants go to work repairing the micro-damage from your morning activities. It is a refreshing, low-calorie way to invest in your stability and your future. Think about the synergy we are building here. We started with the avocado, providing the raw materials and the foreman to manage the construction. Then we added the red apple, the growth messenger, that tells the body to stop demolition and start building. Now we have the berries, the defense battalion, that protects the construction site and ensures the electrical wiring is lightning fast. For the American senior, this isn't just a list of fruits. This is a strategic defense initiative for your body. We are fighting a war against the silent thief of sarcopenia. The thief wants your strength, your balance, and ultimately, your freedom to live in your own home and drive your own car. By understanding the cellular mechanisms behind these fruits, ursolic acid, pectin, anthocyanins, you are no longer just eating healthy. You are taking command. You are acting as the CEO of your own longevity. As a doctor, nothing makes me happier than seeing a patient like James or Sarah reclaim their vitality. It's the look in their eyes when they realize they can lift their grandkids again, or when they walk up a flight of stairs without having to stop for air. That is what is possible when you stop viewing aging as a sentence and start viewing it as a biological process that you can influence. We still have one more warrior to discuss, a fruit that provides the energy to power this entire system. But before we move on, I want you to visualize your muscles not as something that is fading, but as a garden that is finally getting the water and the sunlight it deserves. The growth messenger and the defense battalion are now on your side. Let's keep building that strength. We have built a strong foundation. We have explored the structural support of the avocado, the growth signaling power of the red apple, and the defensive shield provided by the berries. Now we arrive at our fourth and final warrior, a fruit that is perhaps the most misunderstood in the American diet, yet is essential for powering the entire system we have created. I call this pillar the clean engine, the banana. In my clinic, I often encounter patients who are terrified of bananas. They've been told for years to watch their sugar intake, and because a banana is sweet, they've lumped it in with donuts, sodas, and candy. I want to spend a moment debunking the sugar myth, because this misunderstanding is actively preventing many seniors from maintaining their muscle mass. When we talk about sugar in the context of sarcopenia, we have to distinguish between refined, isolated sugar and the cellular fuel found in whole fruit. Think of refined sugar like a flash fire. It burns hot, it burns fast, it creates a lot of smoke, inflammation, and then it leaves you cold and exhausted. But a banana is different. It is a package of glucose and fructose wrapped in a matrix of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. This is what I call clean gasoline for your muscle engine. Your muscles require glucose to function. Inside every muscle cell is a storage tank called glycogen. When you walk,
lift a bag of groceries, or get up from a chair, your body dips into those glycogen tanks for energy. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at storing and using this energy. If you don't provide your muscles with high-quality, slow-burning fuel like the banana, your body will actually begin to break down its own muscle tissue to create the energy it needs. This is the ultimate irony. Many seniors avoid bananas because they want to stay healthy, but by starving their muscles of fuel, they are actually accelerating sarcopenia. The banana provides the precise spark needed to power your movements without the inflammatory smoke of processed sweets. Beyond energy, the banana is the co-pilot of the contraction and relaxation cycle. We've already discussed how potassium and magnesium are the electricians of the body. While the avocado is our high-potency source, the banana provides a consistent, easily absorbed supply of these electrolytes that is perfect for maintaining your electrical grid throughout the day. I want you to visualize what happens inside your leg muscles when you take a step. It is a miracle of biological engineering. A signal arrives from your brain, and potassium rushes into the cell to create a contraction, the firing of the muscle. Then, magnesium follows to allow the muscle to reset, the relaxation. If this cycle is interrupted even slightly, you experience weakness, tremors, or those painful night cramps that keep so many of you awake at 2 a.m. In my practice, I have found that a patient's clumsiness, or fear of falling, often stems from a sluggish contraction-relaxation cycle. Their engine isn't broken, it's just running on a low battery. The banana provides the steady electrical current needed to keep your movements fluid, confident, and strong. But there is a hidden superpower in the banana that is rarely discussed in health magazines: vitamin B6. This is the bridge of our muscle-building strategy. You see, you can eat all the protein in the world, steaks, chicken, eggs. But if you don't have enough vitamin B6, your body cannot effectively break those proteins down into the amino acids that actually build muscle. I like to use the truck and brick metaphor. Imagine your muscle is a construction site. The protein you eat is the pile of bricks sitting at the gate. Vitamin B6 is the fleet of trucks that loads those bricks and delivers them exactly where the construction foreman, the avocado, and the growth messenger, the apple, tell them to go. Without B6, the bricks just sit at the gate, unused, and eventually get thrown away as waste. This is why many seniors who try to eat more protein don't see results. They are missing the delivery system. A single banana provides about a quarter of your daily requirement for vitamin B6, ensuring that the expensive protein you buy is actually being used to strengthen your arms and legs. And let's be practical. Accessibility is a major factor for many of my patients. We live in a world where superfoods and supplements are often priced out of reach for people on a fixed income. But a banana? A banana is a high-value health investment that costs less than the price of a cup of coffee at a drive-thru. It comes in its own biodegradable packaging. It requires no prep, and it's available at every grocery store in America. It is the everyman superfood. To help you enjoy this clean engine without the guilt, I recommend my personal favorite recipe, the guilt-free nice cream. One of my patients, James, struggled with a lifelong craving for ice cream after dinner. He felt it was his one vice. I told him, James, let's make a version that actually builds your muscles while you sleep. Take a very ripe banana. Look for the brown spots, as that's when the B6 and antioxidants are at their peak. Peel it, slice it, and freeze it. When you're ready for a treat, put those frozen slices into a blender with a tablespoon of pure, unsweetened cocoa powder. Cocoa is rich in flavonols that improve blood flow to the muscles. Blend it until it reaches the consistency of soft-serve ice cream. It is creamy, it is sweet, and it satisfies that craving, but instead of a sugar crash, it gives your body the magnesium and B6 it needs for overnight repair. It's a win for your palate and a victory for your strength. Now, we have discussed all 4 pillars, but as I told you at the beginning, the theory is only half the battle. To truly defeat the silent thief, you need an action plan. I want to give you a 24-hour muscle-building map. This is not a restrictive diet. It is a strategic sequence of events designed to maximize your body's ability to protect and build muscle from the moment you wake up until the moment you drift off to sleep. Your journey begins the moment you wake up. After a night of fasting, your body is in a catabolic state. It is looking for fuel, and if you don't provide it, it will start looking at your muscle tissue. We break that cycle with the avocado and egg ritual. The healthy fats from the avocado stabilize your hormones, while the high-quality protein from the egg, rich in the amino acid leucine, flips the on switch for muscle growth. You are setting the tone for the day. Today, we build. Around 10:30 or 11 a.m., the silent thief often tries to creep back in as your energy levels dip. This is when you deploy the whole red apple with skin. By eating the apple now, you are sending that ursolic acid signal to your genes. Do not break down muscle. You are maintaining the momentum from breakfast and using the pectin fiber to keep your blood sugar steady so you don't feel that pre-lunch brain fog. For lunch, we focus on synergy. Choose a lean protein, perhaps some grilled chicken or a piece of turkey, and serve it over a bed of fresh spinach. But here is the secret. Add a handful of berries to that salad. The vitamin C in the berries helps you absorb the iron from the spinach, and the anthocyanins go to work, neutralizing the oxidative stress from your morning activities. Whether you spent the morning gardening or running errands, the berries are there to ensure your muscles recover quickly. This is the most dangerous time of day for most Americans. It's when the vending machine or the cookie jar starts calling your name. Instead, we reach for the banana and cocoa smoothie, or a simple banana if you're on the go. This is your energy refill. You are topping off your glycogen tanks and providing the vitamin B6 needed to process the proteins from your lunch. This prevents the afternoon fatigue that leads many seniors to become sedentary, which is exactly what the silent thief wants. Finally, we end the day with a focus on deep repair. A piece of baked salmon is the perfect choice because the omega-3 fatty acids act as a fire extinguisher for systemic inflammation. Pair it with steamed broccoli, and for dessert, enjoy a few fresh strawberries. Why strawberries at night? They are rich in vitamin C and antioxidants that support the production of collagen and the repair of muscle fibers while you sleep. Your body does its heaviest construction work during the night. By ending your day this way, you are giving the construction foreman the best possible environment to work in. I have seen this 24-hour plan transform lives. I think of Sarah, a 70-year-old who felt she was fading away. She started following this simple map. She didn't join a gym, she just started fueling her body with intention. Within 3 months, she told me she felt sturdy again. That is a powerful word, sturdy. She wasn't afraid of a rug in her hallway. She wasn't afraid of a flight of stairs. She had reclaimed her foundation. But I must be honest with you. As powerful as these 4 fruits are, they are the fuel, not the engine itself. To truly maintain your independence, you must give your muscles a reason to stay. This is the indispensable half, movement. You don't need to lift heavy barbells or run marathons. You simply need to honor the biological law. Use it or lose it. Every time you choose the stairs, every time you do 10 squats while waiting for your coffee to brew, every time you take a brisk walk while swinging your arms, you're sending a message to your brain. You are saying, this muscle is useful. This muscle is necessary. Do not discard it. When you combine that movement with the potassium from the avocado, the ursolic acid from the apple, the anthocyanins from the berries, and the B6 from the banana, you are creating a perfect storm of health. You are doing what most people think is impossible. You are getting stronger as you get older. Sarcopenia is not a life sentence. It is a biological process that thrives on neglect. It wins when we become passive, when we accept the half-truth that weakness is inevitable. But today, you have the knowledge. You have the construction foreman, the growth messenger, the defense battalion, and the clean engine. You have a map for the next 24 hours. The silent thief has been warned. Your strength, your balance, and your independence are your most valuable assets. Protect them with the same ferocity that you protect your family. Start today. Pick one fruit. Make one change. your future self, the version of you that is still driving, still traveling, and still playing with your grandkids 10 years from now, will thank you for the decisions you made today.
I'm Dr. Eric Whitman. I believe in your strength, and I am honored to be on this journey with you. Let's keep moving forward, one strong step at a time. We have spent a significant amount of time discussing the fuel, the 4 powerful fruits that act as your internal defense against the silent thief of sarcopenia. We've looked at the avocado, the red apple, the berries, and the banana. But now I must bring you into the second half of my clinic, where we discuss a hard biological truth that many health gurus tend to gloss over. If nutrition is 50% of the equation, the other 50%, the indispensable half, is movement. In my years as a physician, I have seen patients who eat the most pristine, organic, nutrient-dense diets imaginable, yet they still find themselves becoming frail, losing their balance, and feeling their strength slip away. Why? Because you can provide your body with all the high-quality bricks, protein, and foreman, hormonal signals, in the world, but if you don't give the body a reason to build, it will simply discard those materials. This is the use it or lose it law. It is an uncompromising rule of human biology, and after the age of 60, it becomes the most important law in your life. To understand why movement is so critical, we have to look at the biological reality of our evolution. Our ancestors lived in an environment where physical exertion was a requirement for survival. They had to walk, climb, carry, and push just to secure food and shelter. Because of this, our bodies evolved to be incredibly efficient with energy. Muscle tissue is what we call metabolically expensive. This means that even when you are sitting still watching the evening news, your muscles are burning calories. They are like high-maintenance tenants in an apartment building. They demand a lot of rent in the form of energy and nutrients. From an evolutionary standpoint, if a muscle isn't being used, your body views it as a waste of resources. It says, "Why am I paying rent on these large quadriceps if this person only uses them to walk from the bed to the refrigerator?" To save energy for vital organs like the heart and brain, the body initiates a discard sequence. This is the message to the brain that occurs when we become sedentary. When you sit for prolonged periods, whether it's on a long flight, a car ride, or just a quiet afternoon in your favorite recliner, you are sending a clear signal to your nervous system. These muscles are no longer needed. You can break them down and use the energy elsewhere. In the medical community, we call this disuse atrophy, and it is the best friend of sarcopenia. The silent thief loves a sedentary lifestyle because it makes your body a willing accomplice in its own decline. I want to introduce you to a patient of mine named Robert, a 68-year-old retired bank manager. Robert was a very efficient man. He had a riding lawnmower, a remote control for everything in his house, and he prided himself on taking it easy after 40 years of hard work. But Robert came to me because he felt shaky. He told me, "Dr. Eric, I feel like I'm walking on stilts. I don't feel grounded." When we tested his leg strength, it was in the bottom 20th percentile for his age. Robert was eating well, but he was sending the discard signal to his brain every single day. He had fallen into what I call the comfort trap. We think we are being kind to our bodies by resting, but after 60, too much rest is a toxin. The good news is that the use it or lose it law works both ways. Just as disuse signals the body to discard muscle, movement signals the body to preserve and rebuild. When you put a demand on a muscle, even a small one, you create tiny, microscopic distress signals in the tissue. These signals wake up what we call satellite cells. Think of these as a standby repair crew. They spend most of their time sleeping, but the moment they feel the tension of a muscle contraction, they wake up, grab the nutrients from the avocado and the protein from your eggs, and start reinforcing the muscle fibers. This is the only way to lock in the nutritional gains we've been talking about. Without the spark of movement, the fuel of nutrition never catches fire. Now, I know that for many of you, the word exercise sounds like a chore, or worse, something that might lead to injury. You might have bad knees or a finicky back, and the idea of going to a gym with loud music and heavy weights
is the last thing you want to do. That is why I focus on low-impact resistance hacks. These are small, stealthy movements that you can integrate into the life you already live. They don't require spandex, a gym membership, or even an extra hour of your time. They are designed to hijack your daily routine and turn it into a muscle-building session. The first and perhaps most powerful hack is what I call countertop squats. Think about how many times a day you stand in your kitchen waiting for something. You're waiting for the kettle to boil, the microwave to beep, or the coffee to brew. Usually we just stand there, shifting our weight from side to side. Instead, I want you to place your hands firmly on the edge of the kitchen counter for balance. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart and slowly lower your hips as if you are about to sit in a chair. You don't have to go low, just a few inches will do. Then, push through your heels to stand back up. Why the counter? Because it removes the fear of falling. By holding onto a solid surface, you can focus entirely on the feeling of your quadriceps and glutes engaging. These are the powerhouse muscles of your body. They are the muscles that allow you to get off a toilet independently or climb into an SUV. When you do 10 of these while your morning coffee is brewing, you are sending a loud, clear message to your brain. I am using these legs. Do not discard this muscle. I had a patient, Linda, a 71-year-old, who had become terrified of her bathroom because the toilet seat was low and she struggled to get back up. She felt humiliated by the idea of needing a raised seat or an assist bar. We started the countertop squat ritual. Every morning, while her tea was steeping, she did 10 squats. Within 3 weeks, she called me and said, "Dr. Eric, I just stood up from the sofa without using the armrest for the first time in 2 years." That is the power of a small habit. She didn't work out. She just changed her waiting time into building time. The second hack focuses on your upper body and your grip strength, water bottle curls. In the medical world, grip strength is one of the most accurate predictors of longevity. A weak grip is a canary in the coal mine for systemic muscle loss. Think about your daily habit of watching the evening news or your favorite show. Usually, this is 30 to 60 minutes of total muscular inactivity. I want you to take 2 standard 16-ounce water bottles. While you are sitting there watching the weather report, simply perform slow, controlled bicep curls. It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But a 16-ounce bottle weighs about a pound. If you do 50 repetitions while watching a segment of the news, you have just moved 50 pounds of resistance through your biceps and forearms. More importantly, the act of gripping the bottle tightly engages the muscles in your hands and wrists. This is what keeps you capable of opening jars, carrying grocery bags, and, most importantly, holding onto a handrail if you ever lose your balance. It turns passive screen time into active maintenance time. It's about being sturdy from the fingertips up. The third hack is what I call the brisk beat walk. We all know we should walk more, but many seniors fall into the habit of what I call the shuffling stroll. While any movement is better than none, a slow shuffle doesn't provide enough stimulus to trigger muscle growth. Your heart rate needs to lift just a little bit to improve circulation and deliver those growth messengers from the red apple to your extremities. The hack is simple. Park further away. When you go to the grocery store or the pharmacy, don't hunt for the closest spot to the door. Pick a spot at the back of the lot. Then, as you walk toward the entrance, try to walk to the beat of an upbeat song in your head. Something with a brisk beat. Swing your arms slightly. This increased intensity, even for just 60 seconds, creates a demand on your cardiovascular system and your leg muscles. It tells your body that you are a person of action, not a person of convenience. I remember James, the retired engineer we discussed earlier. James was very set in his ways. He used to circle the grocery store parking lot for 5 minutes just to save 20 steps. I challenged him to park at the very end of the row. He complained at first, but then he made it a game. He'd time himself walking to the beat of "Stayin' Alive" by the Bee Gees. After a month, he realized he wasn't huffing and puffing when he got to the milk aisle anymore. His heart and his legs had adapted to the brisk beat. He had reclaimed a minute of his life that was previously lost to convenience. The biological reality is that your body is constantly eavesdropping on your behavior. It is always asking, who is this person? Are they a hunter-gatherer who needs to be strong, or are they a statue who only needs to survive? Every countertop squat, every water bottle curl, and every brisk beat walk is a vote for the hunter-gatherer. It is a vote for the version of you that is independent, capable, and resilient. I want to address a final, crucial point: the fear of pain. I know that for many of you, your joints hurt. You might have osteoarthritis in your knees or stiffness in your hips. The natural human reaction to pain is to stop moving. But in the case of sarcopenia and joint health, motion is lotion. When you stop moving, the fluid that lubricates your joints, the synovial fluid, becomes thick and stagnant. Your muscles weaken, which means your joints have to take more of the impact when you move. This creates a vicious cycle. You move less because it hurts, which makes your muscles weaker, which makes it hurt more when you do move. By using these low-impact hacks, you are breaking that cycle safely. You aren't pounding the pavement. You are gently priming the pump. You are telling your body to send blood flow to those areas. You are strengthening the muscles around the joints so they can act as shock absorbers. As a doctor, my goal for you is not to make you a bodybuilder. My goal is to make you fragile-proof. I want you to be the person who can trip on a curb and have the neuromuscular communication from the berries and the clean engine energy from the banana to catch yourself. I want you to be the person who can carry their own luggage through an airport because they've been doing their water bottle curls. I want you to be the person who lives in their own home for 20 years longer than their peers because they never let the silent thief move in.
Nutrition is the fuel. Movement is the spark. When you bring them together, you create a fire of vitality that sarcopenia cannot extinguish. You are no longer a victim of your age. You are the architect of your longevity. You have the 4 fruits. You have the 24-hour plan, and now you have the stealth hacks to trigger the building process.
Start small. Start today. Choose one hack. Maybe it's just the squats while the tea is brewing. Do it for 1 week. See how your legs feel. Feel that sense of sturdiness returning to your foundation. This is your life, your independence, and your strength. It is worth every single effort. I'm Dr. Eric Whitman. Let's keep moving, because a body in motion stays in motion, and a body in motion stays free. The greatest danger we've discussed today isn't just losing muscle. It's the quiet, steady erosion of your independence that happens when no one is looking. If you have found yourself avoiding the stairs lately, or waiting for a loved one to carry the heavier grocery bags, please know it's not because you are careless or lazy. The reality is that our healthcare system rarely takes the time to explain how simple nutrition and small habits can act as a protective shield before a crisis occurs. You aren't failing. You are just missing the roadmap. But now, you have the control back in your hands. You have the plan, and it is never too late to reinforce your foundation. If you feel ready to protect your future self, simply type the word sturdy in the comments below. I invite you to follow this channel as a safeguard for your health, ensuring you never miss these vital early warnings. Because as critical as your muscle mass is, there is another silent process affecting your circulation that is even more common and often goes unnoticed until it is much harder to manage. I share this with you because I've spent far too many hours with patients who only wish they had known these truths just a few years sooner.